They've crossed the line. What we just witnessed wasn't a simple confrontation between two superstars, it was an all-out war that erupted backstage and spilled into the arena with such intensity that security couldn't contain it. Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre just tore through Saturday night's main event like two forces of nature hellbent on destroying each other before their scheduled match even happens. And here's what's going to make your blood boil: WWE management just stood there and watched as these two men put each other through walls, through equipment, through anything they could get their hands on. This wasn't wrestling, this was a street fight that proves neither man can wait until bell time to settle their differences. If you think you know why this rivalry has reached nuclear levels, you're wrong. Because what I'm about to reveal shows this goes deeper than championships, deeper than pride, and deeper than anything WWE is telling you on television. It started during a routine interview segment. Cody Rhodes was backstage with Cathy Kelley, talking about his preparation for Saturday night's main event and his determination to prove he's still the top star in WWE. Standard fare, right? The American Nightmare was delivering his usual inspiring promo about finishing his story, about representing the fans, about being the champion that WWE deserves. But his words were cut short when Drew McIntyre's music hit over the arena speakers. And Drew didn't just walk out, he stormed out. The Scottish Warrior marched down to the interview area with purpose in his eyes and violence on his mind. Before Cathy Kelley could even ask a question, before Cody could react, Drew got right in Cody's face and said something that you couldn't hear on the microphone but you could read on Cody's face. It was personal. It was disrespectful. And it was the spark that ignited an explosion. Cody shoved Drew backward. Not a wrestling shove, a real shove fueled by genuine anger. And Drew? He smiled. That sick, sadistic smile that tells you he wanted this confrontation. He wanted Cody to lose his composure. He wanted an excuse to put his hands on the American Nightmare before their scheduled match. Drew responded by swinging at Cody with a right hand that would have decapitated him if it connected. But Cody ducked and fired back with a flurry of punches that drove Drew backward into the interview set. The backdrop collapsed. Camera equipment went flying. Cathy Kelley scrambled to get out of the way as these two giants started brawling with reckless abandon. This wasn't choreographed. This wasn't planned. This was two men who hate each other finally letting years of tension explode in the most violent way possible. Security rushed in immediately, at least a dozen security guards trying to separate these two warriors. But do you know what happened? Cody and Drew threw them aside like ragdolls. These trained security professionals were powerless against the combined fury of Rhodes and McIntyre. Every time they pulled Cody away, he fought his way back to Drew. Every time they restrained Drew, he powered through them to get back at Cody. Drop a comment right now and tell me, have you ever seen two wrestlers this unable to control themselves before a match? Because I'm struggling to remember a time when the hatred felt this real. The brawl spilled into the gorilla position, the sacred space right before the entrance curtain where wrestlers prepare for their entrances. WWE officials were screaming at them to stop. Road agents were trying to intervene. But nothing could stop this runaway train of violence. Drew grabbed Cody and launched him into a production crate. The impact sounded like a car crash. Equipment spilled everywhere. Monitors shattered. And Cody? He barely felt it. Adrenaline and rage had turned him into something primal. Cody emerged from the wreckage and speared Drew through a nearby door. They crashed into the hallway that leads to the arena, still trading punches, still refusing to be separated. And that's when things got insane. They fought their way through the entrance curtain and onto the stage. The crowd erupted. Thousands of fans watching these two superstars beating the hell out of each other in front of God and everyone. Drew grabbed Cody and attempted a future shock DDT right there on the steel stage. But Cody blocked it, reversed it, and delivered a snap power slam that echoed throughout the arena. The stage isn't like the ring, there's no give, no cushioning. That was straight steel on steel impact. Drew's back absorbed every ounce of that slam and you could see the pain register on his face. But Drew McIntyre is not a man who stays down easily. He's fought through injuries, through setbacks, through years of being overlooked. A power slam on steel wasn't going to stop him. He grabbed Cody by the throat and threw him off the stage. Not a controlled wrestling throw, a violent, uncontrolled throw that sent Cody crashing through a table that was set up for equipment. Cody's body folded on impact. Cables and equipment exploded in all directions. The crowd was losing their minds. Medical personnel rushed to check on Cody while Drew stood on that stage like a conquering warrior. He raised his arms, soaking in the chaos he created. But his celebration was short-lived because Cody, somehow, got to his feet. The American Nightmare was bleeding from his forehead, his ring gear was torn, his body was battered, but his eyes? His eyes were filled with pure determination. Cody climbed back onto the stage and the brawl continued. These two men were beyond reasoning. They were operating on pure instinct, pure hatred, pure competitive fire. Drew went for a Claymore kick but Cody moved at the last second. Drew's boot connected with a LED board and shattered it. Sparks flew. Electricity popped. And in that moment of vulnerability, Cody struck with a disaster kick that sent Drew stumbling backward toward the edge of the stage. What happened next will be replayed on WWE programming for years. Cody charged at Drew, both men locked up, and they both tumbled off the stage. Not a planned spot, a chaotic, out-of-control fall that saw both men crash through another table. Security, officials, medical staff, everyone swarmed the area. This time they didn't try to separate them, they formed a wall between them because it was clear that if these two got within arm's reach of each other again, someone was going to the hospital. Here's your second question, comment below and tell me, should WWE have this match at Saturday night's main event, or should they punish both men for this chaos? Because the implications are huge. Now let's talk about why this rivalry has reached this level of intensity, because it's not just about two alpha males wanting to prove who's better. This goes back months. When Cody Rhodes returned to WWE and completed his story by winning the championship at WrestleMania, Drew McIntyre was furious. Drew had been grinding away in WWE for years, delivering incredible matches, cutting passionate promos, doing everything the company asked of him. And yet Cody, who left WWE, went to the competition, and came back, got the WrestleMania moment that Drew felt he deserved. Drew has openly said in interviews that he feels disrespected by WWE's decision to prioritize Cody's story over his own. He's questioned whether Cody actually earned his spot or whether he just benefited from being a prodigal son returning home. Those words cut deep for Cody because he knows the sacrifices he made. He knows the years he spent proving himself outside WWE. He knows that his story resonated with millions of fans worldwide. But Drew doesn't care about Cody's feelings. Drew doesn't care about the narrative. Drew cares about one thing, proving that he's the better wrestler, the better champion, and the man who should be the face of WWE. And the only way to prove that is to beat Cody Rhodes so decisively that there's no debate, no controversy, no question about who the superior competitor is. And that brings us to the real reason this brawl happened today. According to sources backstage, and I have multiple sources on this, Drew McIntyre went into that interview segment specifically to provoke Cody. He wanted this confrontation. He wanted to show WWE management and the world that he can get inside Cody's head. He wanted to prove that the American Nightmare isn't as composed, isn't as professional, isn't as controlled as he pretends to be. And you know what? Drew succeeded. He turned Cody Rhodes into a brawler. He forced the American Nightmare to abandon his principles and fight on Drew's terms. That's psychological warfare at its finest. Drew just showed that he can manipulate Cody's emotions, and in a wrestling match, the person who controls their emotions usually controls the outcome. But here's where it gets even more complicated. WWE management is furious about this brawl. Saturday night's main event is supposed to be WWE's return to network television. It's supposed to be a throwback to the glory days of Saturday Night Wrestling on NBC. It's a huge promotional opportunity that could attract casual viewers who haven't watched wrestling in years. And now their main event participants are injured, battered, and might not even be cleared to compete. There are reports, unconfirmed but from very reliable sources, that WWE executives were in emergency meetings immediately after this brawl. They were discussing whether to postpone the match, whether to add stipulations to contain the violence, or whether to punish both Cody and Drew for their unprofessional behavior. Because while this chaos is great for social media buzz and YouTube views, it's a nightmare for the people who have to actually organize and execute Saturday night's main event. Let me share something with you that's been circulating in wrestling circles. There's a theory that this entire brawl was worked. That WWE scripted this chaos to generate buzz for Saturday night's main event. And you know what? I can see why people think that. In modern wrestling, it's hard to tell what's real and what's scripted. WWE has mastered the art of blurring those lines. But I don't think this was entirely scripted. I think WWE gave Cody and Drew permission to have a confrontation, but I think things escalated beyond what was planned. I think real emotions took over. I think genuine animosity between these two competitors turned a work segment into something that felt disturbingly real. And that's when wrestling is at its absolute best, when you can't tell where the performance ends and reality begins. Now let's discuss what this means for Saturday night's main event. Assuming both men are cleared to compete, and that's a big assumption given what we just saw, this match is going to be brutal. There's no way they can have a traditional wrestling match after what happened today. This has to be a no disqualification match. This has to be a street fight or a false count anywhere match or something that acknowledges the violence these two men just inflicted on each other. But WWE has a problem. Saturday night's main event is on network television. NBC has broadcast standards. They have censors. They have rules about the level of violence that can be shown during primetime hours. WWE can't do the same hardcore, extreme violence that they could do on a pay-per-view or even on their own streaming platforms. So how do you satisfy the bloodlust that this brawl created while staying within network television guidelines? One more question for you folks, comment and tell me what stipulation would be perfect for this match at Saturday night's main event. Because WWE needs to figure this out fast. Here's my bold prediction for how this plays out. WWE is going to announce that Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre are both suspended for their actions today. They're going to pretend to punish them, pretend to be angry about the chaos. But then, at Saturday night's main event, both men are going to show up anyway. They're going to defy their suspensions because they want each other so badly that no authority figure can stop them. And then WWE will have no choice but to sanction the match under extreme rules to contain the violence. It's classic wrestling booking. Create the illusion that the match might not happen, build suspense and tension, and then deliver it in the most explosive way possible. And honestly, I'm here for it. Because whether this is worked or shoot, whether it's scripted or organic, whether it's sports entertainment or legitimate competition, it's compelling television. It's the kind of storytelling that makes people tune in. And let's be real about something, WWE needs this right now. They need moments that feel important. They need rivalries that feel real. They need superstars who can make you believe that winning or losing actually matters to them. Too much of modern wrestling feels sanitized, feels corporate, feels like everyone's just doing their job. But Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre? They're making you believe. They're making you care. They're making you want to see what happens next. That's the secret sauce that WWE has been missing lately. That's the ingredient that made the Attitude Era so compelling, that made the Ruthless Aggression Era so memorable. It's not about flippy moves or technical wrestling or even championship reigns. It's about making the audience feel something. And whether you're feeling anger or excitement or shock or concern, you're feeling something while watching Cody and Drew try to kill each other. Now let's talk about the broader implications for both men's careers. For Cody Rhodes, this brawl might actually be exactly what he needed. He's been criticized lately for being too nice, too noble, too much of a traditional babyface. Fans were starting to say he's become stale, predictable, boring even. But today he showed edge. Today he showed that he can be vicious when provoked. Today he reminded everyone that before he was the American Nightmare, he was Dusty Rhodes' son and Dusty knew how to fight. For Drew McIntyre, this brawl cements his position as the most dangerous heel in WWE. He's not a cowardly heel who runs from fights. He's not a chicken shit heel who needs help to win. He's a dominant heel who will beat you in the ring or backstage or in the parking lot or wherever he finds you. That's the kind of heel that main events WrestleMania. That's the kind of heel that sells tickets and moves merchandise and makes people pay to see him get his ass kicked. Saturday night's main event is shaping up to be must-see television. Not because of nostalgia for the old format. Not because it's on network TV. But because Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre have created a rivalry so intense, so personal, so violent that you have to see how it plays out. You have to know who wins. You have to witness the conclusion of this war. And here's the beautiful thing, regardless of who wins, both men come out looking like stars. If Cody wins, he proves he can beat Drew at his own game, that he can match intensity with intensity, violence with violence. If Drew wins, he validates everything he's been saying, proves he's better than Cody, and positions himself as the top challenger for whatever championship is on the line. So here's what I need from you. Share this video everywhere. Let WWE know that this is the kind of content we want. This is the kind of rivalry that makes wrestling appointment viewing. Drop a comment with your prediction for Saturday night's main event. Hit that like button if you're as hyped as I am. And subscribe to Wrestling World CC because we're going to have full coverage of Saturday night's main event and everything that happens in this incredible rivalry. Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre just showed us that sometimes the best wrestling happens outside the ring. They showed us that real hatred, real competition, real violence can't be contained by scheduled match times or corporate guidelines. They reminded us why we fell in love with wrestling in the first place, because when it's done right, when the emotions are real, when the stakes feel genuine, there's nothing more compelling in all of entertainment. Saturday night's main event can't come fast enough. And when these two warriors finally step into that ring, if they make it to the ring without killing each other first, we're going to witness something special. Something historic. Something that reminds us why wrestling, at its core, is the greatest form of storytelling ever created.